I stood at the entrance of the door, and immediately I felt intimidated by all the men. Just imagine, big, bulky guys in military uniforms at least twice my size. I couldn't help but realize that I was only female. And with that, I also saw that I was the shortest and the youngest, so that already made me feel so small inside. They all towered over me as they reached over to shake my hand and welcome me to their team. This was my experience. This is my first day at my research internship. At that moment, I had a lot of thoughts going through my mind. One side of me thought that I wasn't capable of doing the tasks that these men were able to do, and that I wouldn't be able to fit in. But the other side of me was up for a challenge, and I wanted to make some sort of contribution at the end of the day. But I just didn't want them to treat me any differently just because I was part of the minority. With women being in the minority of the STEM field, gender diversity should be promoted in all environments. And despite a stereotypical image of women in the society, women should feel just as capable as men. And I was able to overcome this in my internship. So walking into my internship, I didn't really know what to expect. I knew I was doing some sort of research, but then after seeing all these men, I didn't really know what I signed up for. But I got a gist of it when my mentor took me into the lab and gave me a tour. And that was when I saw one of my worst nightmares, computers. And with computers came 3D printers. And coming from a girl who has technical difficulties every day, I was not looking forward to this at all. So I did a little bit of research, and I found that men have higher brain volumes in the subcortical region of their brain, which includes the hippocampus. And the hippocampus is essential for memory and spatial awareness. And this is especially important for 3D printing because you need to be able to visualize these objects and rotate them on a software before you can actually print them. And one of my lab mates was actually a genius at 3D printing, and he taught me this software called CAD, or computer-aided design. And soon I realized that I was struggling, because when I was able to make a square, he was able to make a whole house. And he did this in a couple of clicks, but I spent hundreds of hours and hundreds of clicks and undo buttons, and I wasn't able to do what he was able to do. And at that point, I thought maybe research is right for a reason, that maybe higher brain volumes did mean better at 3D printing. And I thought that because I was a female, I didn't have this higher brain volume, so I wasn't able to do what he was able to do. But I soon realized that practice was key, and with perseverance, I was able to do this. After weeks of practicing, and I mean staring at a computer screen, I was finally able to build and manufacture a barrier that was essential for my research project assigned by my mentor. And at this point, I felt so accomplished because I was not only able to prove to myself that I was able to do it, I was finally able to make this contribution from my internship. Now, 2 years later, my mentor contacts me, and he tells me that my idea has been developed and will be patented. And he told me that in future projects or in future articles and poster presentations, my name would also be included on there. And I was so surprised because who would have known that a little tiny intern could make such a difference and go so far in the scientific community. And at that point, I realized that perseverance really can make you go so far. And at the end of the day, on my last day of my internship, my mentor came up to me and told me that he was thankful that I came to this internship. And he told me that I not only added to the diversity of the group, but also I added a new perspective and a new idea that they were able to build upon. With this internal struggle, I realized that women in STEM may also be experiencing this or have experienced it. And I felt small, not just physically, but psychologically. But with accomplishments, I was able to overcome this. And from this, I want everyone, especially women, to take my advice. Don't ever think that you can't do something or that you're not capable of doing something just because you're different, whether it be in gender, shape, or size. With perseverance, women can be just as successful. Thank you.